Mario is the king of kart racers. Everyone knows it. No one really even tries anymore. I mean, can anyone name a single kart racer that's come out in the past decade that can even hold a candle to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Listen, I love Garfield Kart as much as the next guy. I'm the worst Garfield Kart player in the world solely out of passion. But in terms of scale, quality, polish, and popularity, nowadays, no one could even come close if they wanted to. Today, we're gonna go back in time, before Mario Kart was the absolute titan it is today, to talk about one of my favorite racing games on the N64. Not that one. I don't really like that one. I'm talking about Snowboard Kids 2. I like the second one better. Snowboard Kids is a bit of an odd series, developed by Raction and published by Atlas. Yup, that Atlas. Snowboard Kids 1 launched in December of 1997, and Snowboard Kids 2 launched in February of 1999. These games were absolutely pumped out. We also got Snowboard Kids Plus for the PS1 a month before that, and an attempted reboot on the DS in 2005, but after that, this series went completely dormant. So, what is Snowboard Kids? What does it do differently from Mario Kart, and what does it do better? Does it deserve a modern reboot? And what do I have to do to get you to subscribe to the channel, huh? You think this graph is a joke? Only 1.5% of you are subscribed? Sorry. I'm trying to reach 10K by the end of the year, and any support, liking my videos, commenting, and subscribing all go a long way to helping me achieve that goal. And if you like this kind of content, any support really helps me keep making videos like this. So the most obvious distinction between Snowboard Kids and Mario Kart is that this one is on snowboards. But how does that affect the gameplay? In this game, you don't have an accelerate button, but rather you accelerate by gaining momentum, either by moving downhill or jumping forward. Jumping in this game does not let you drift like you can in Mario Kart, but you are allowed to do sharper turns by pointing the stick diagonally down in the direction you're trying to turn. Jumping is also used to gain height to do tricks and dodge obstacles and projectiles. Since the tracks are all downhill, you can't just do normal laps like on a racetrack. Instead, you have to get on a ski lift to get back to the top. With everyone trying to get in the same small spot at the end of the track, it creates these goofy little scrambles of everyone trying to squeeze past and bump each other. You might expect that in the game where you're snowboarding that all the tracks in this game would be snowy mountains, but no, these are kind of weird. We've got haunted mansions, big houses, we go to fucking space, and way more. This game also does that Mario Party 2 thing where the different tracks will have the characters dressed up in different costumes. I think that's neat. One thing about these tracks that I do really appreciate is that they often branch into multiple paths. The differences in these paths usually range from like hard but rewarding shortcuts to different types of items, or in the simplest sense, having choices lets you avoid enemy players by taking your own path, or you can pursue enemy players with your items down the same path. Going a little deeper, this game has money. You can pick up money on the course or gain money by doing tricks. The more spins you do before successfully landing, the more money you'll get. If you eat shit, you're staying broke. You get money in increments of 100, which is good because in order to get items in this game, you need to spend 100 coins. Passing through an item box with no money will result in no item. I think this system is pretty cool because it incentivizes you to fit in tricks wherever you can so that you can constantly get more items. It creates a dynamic where you don't necessarily want to grab every item box like in Mario Kart. Sometimes when you're low on cash, you want to skip certain types of items so that you can pick up a different one. Grabbing an item box when you already have items will just give you a new one and spend more money. Being put in a scenario where you have no coins while approaching an item box incentivizes you to play risky and go for tricks that could lead to you wiping out. Speaking of items, there are two different kinds. The red items are called shots. These all essentially function like green shells with slight homing if a player is in line of sight. You've got this hand that knocks you down and steals your money. The snowman will take away a player's control for a little bit without slowing their momentum. The tornado will knock players into the air and make them drop their items onto the course. The ice will freeze opponents and turn them into a hazard that people have to avoid. The parachute is probably the longest stun that can be just absolutely devastating if you get hit by it before a jump. And the bomb, which is a bomb. but also notably the only shot that can be thrown backwards. Blue items are items. These can generally be used at any time. You've got this rock that works like a banana. There's invisibility that will make you invulnerable to any items for a short period of time. Wings make you jump higher, allowing you to perform more tricks and dodge shots much easier. The fan will increase your speed a little bit for a decent amount of time, while the rocket will increase your speed a lot for a much shorter time. The pan just hits everyone other than you with this giant ass pan. Think of this one kind of like the lightning from Mario Kart, except you don't lose your item. There's this ghost that will slow down first place, the triple ghost, which will slow down every other player, this fucking rat that steals money from whoever's in first place, and the triple fucking rats that steal from everyone. That's a lot of items, right? Well, now imagine every player gets 2 item slots, allowing them to hold a stack of 3 shots and 1 item simultaneously. The item play in this game is a lot of fun. Generally, the blue items are a lot stronger and easier to use, while the reds can give really big rewards on hit in close scuffles. You might think that getting 3 shots for every red box might be a little overkill, but you actually have a lot more options to deal with this than stuff like red shells in Mario Kart. In Mario Kart, you can block items by holding your own items behind you. This is really safe and easy. In Snowboard Kids, you don't have anything to block. You have the invisibility item sometimes to avoid items, but other than that, you're gonna have to rely on your jumps. By timing a jump perfectly, you can dodge any shot. The timing on this isn't too strict, but just strict enough that it feels really cool to pull off. One benefit to dodging shots is that they will continue to travel forward and start tracking the player in front of you if they are within range. This is cool because it kind of allows the people in the back to collectively send their bullshit towards the front instead of always fighting amongst themselves. If instead of just a normal jump, you time a trick right as the item hits you, you can actually reflect the item back. Yes, this is a racing game with a parry. And it fucking rules. This system works really well because pulling off tricks in itself can be a little dangerous. If you aren't on the right terrain, you can wipe out and still get hit by the item after. And while the item getting reflected will home back in on whoever threw it, you can still parry it back. Yes, in a hypothetical scenario where 2 players are good enough, you could probably start playing Tennis Kids in the middle of a race. Getting good at parries does not make shots useless though. Since all defensive options are tied to a jump, you can time your shots as people land to trap them. If you mess up your dodges or your parries, you can get really messed up in this game. Like, a lot of people talk about getting Mario Karted when they get hit by a lot of items. This game loves to absolutely shit on you. There is not a lot of, if any, iframes after you get hit, meaning you can get comboed in stun chains that last upwards of 20 seconds. If this game had any more than 4 players, I could honestly see someone getting stunned for like a full minute. Being in this situation doesn't always feel great, but it's also just kind of hilarious in a Looney Tunes Rube Goldberg kind of way. I haven't played this game split screen since I was a kid, but I can only imagine how funny it is to have someone screaming at the top of their lungs as they're getting frozen, exploded, and then parachuted off of a cliff. But speaking of split screen, I didn't play it for this video. I played the story mode. Now the plot of Snowboard Kids 2 is a little crazy, so strap in here. This guy is a terrorist. Oh, he got us a present. Do you think it's a pipe bomb? Oh, he's stepping back. It's definitely a pipe bomb. Oh my god! But he's really bad at it. And everyone else just kind of keeps fucking him up by accident. Yeah, the story isn't the highlight here. It just kind of gives you a slight reason to be where you are for the characters to start their race. There's 10 stages in the story mode, and 3 of them are boss fights. I think these are cool, but they can feel a little janky. Sometimes you have to slow down to let the boss pass you so that you can hit them again. But generally, these were a fun little break between all the standard racing and a really unique idea for a racer like this. There's also 3 minigames. The trick one challenges you to do a bunch of tricks for a high score, the shooting one where you have to shoot newspapers into mailboxes, and the speed one, which is just a glorified time trial with boost items scattered around the course. I think these are all kind of fun, but also a bit basic. It would be cool if there were multiple stages here to choose from, but you only have one set of conditions on one map for each of these. After you beat the story, you unlock expert mode, where the computers get much better. Seriously, they will basically reflect everything. There's also no coins on the course, which means that you have to obtain all of your money by doing tricks. Beating stages again on expert mode will start to unlock a lot of the crazier snowboards you can equip. I didn't unlock all of them for this video because, wow, how many? Come on, man. What the fuck? I'm backwards? Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, that level took me like 45 minutes, but I have them on my N64 save. These have some of the craziest stats in the game, which really lets you play the game in such different ways. Super fun little addition here to play around with. After replaying this game, one thing that really sticks out to me is just how ahead of its time this game really was. I mean, a lot of features here wouldn't be seen in Mario Kart for years afterwards. 2 item slots and stats customization would first appear in Double Dash. Tricks and half pipes wouldn't appear until Wii. There were boss fights on the DS and underwater tracks. A lot of the little things here would eventually make their way into Mario Kart. But even put against modern day Mario Kart, I still think this game has a lot going for it. Whereas I feel a lot of modern kart racers fall into a derivative pile of low effort slop. I think Snowboard Kids has a lot of legs to stand on its own. I think Snowboard Kids was so weirdly ahead of its time that it could seriously work in a more modern context. So, in this hypothetical fairy tale land where we get a Snowboard Kids 3 in the year of our Lord 2024, what could we expect? First off, I would love to play Snowboard Kids online. From what I've seen, the DS one only supported download play, and I think full online play could go such a long way in a game like this. Furthermore, with more of a focus on online rather than local split screen, they could also increase the max player count from 4 to something like 8. More players means more chaos, and more chaos is generally a good thing for a game like this. While I love the item system, I do think it is really simple as is, and there's a lot of room for improvement. I've found that sometimes you have a lot more coins than you could even realistically spend in a single race. Whether it be the course having a big jump where you can farm flips for like $600 tricks, or just getting that stupid fucking rat that I hate. I think a cool way to address this while expanding the system is to find ways to give the player options in how they spend their money. Whether you hold down a button while passing an item to spend more coins, or add a different item box, maybe like a gold one that takes like 500 coins instead of 100. I think it would be cool to have these kinds of options in the way that you spend your money, choosing whether to guarantee good items with big purchases or making more small purchases with worse odds. If they wanted to be really crazy, they could add some sort of shop system to the ski lift where you could buy upgrades or items while you're on your way back to the top. That would also kind of give you something to do while you're waiting. Finding more ways to give the player decisions to make with their money creates a much more engaging game. I also think allowing for a more in-depth trick system could be a lot of fun. In Snowboard Kids 2, you can only really do front and back flips and left and right spins. Being able to combine these and kind of freestyle your tricks and adding a lot more to choose from could be a really fun way to add some flavor. I also think that bringing more multiplayer modes to the table could be a really fun way to add to this game. I think having team races where you split up the racers into teams could create a whole new dynamic with not a lot of effort. If we're going full online, what's stopping us from making a mode with an absurd amount of players duking it out in a last man standing type of race? I'm thinking something kind of like F-Zero 99 here. Finally, and this is kind of a weird one, I think making a co-op raid boss mode where you're doing a boss fight like from the story mode, but with multiple players at the same time could be really cool. Having multiple players could lead to some really interesting boss designs, where it might force players to coordinate and pool together their coins and items, Maybe even split up down different paths on the course to hit different weak points. I think something like this would be really fun and is kind of untapped for a game like this. But coming back down, it's been roughly 20 years since we've heard anything from this series. I fear that there really isn't much hope for something like this to happen in current year. Whether developers and publishers don't believe in the series anymore, they forgot about it, or even just the idea of making a Mario Kart competitor in the 2020s is just a laughable prospect. Regardless, even if Snowboard Kids can never see the light of day again, I think what we have here on N64 is something really special that Mario Kart could never replace. Heyo! Let me know what you thought about this video. I had a lot of fun revisiting this game. I used to play it with my brother when I was a kid and just get rolled constantly. So it was a fun, nostalgic one for me to revisit. What do y'all think about Snowboard Kids? Did you grow up with it? Have you heard of it? I love talking about these nostalgic games with y'all in the comments, so let me know. Anyways, I want to thank you all once more for watching. It really means a lot that people care to watch these silly little videos I make. If you're still listening and you're not subscribed, please. Also, like the video as well, that helps a ton. That's it from me. I will see you guys in the next one.